The housing market in Durham Region and much of the Greater Toronto Area is on the edge of a shift. In this video, I'm going to tell you why we're about to see a change in the market, and I'm also going to tell you why we're still experiencing competition and multiple offers in certain segments of the market despite the number of homes for sale continuing to increase while sales are starting to drop off. My name is Jessie McLellan and I'm a realtor here in Oshawa, Ontario, and if you'd like to stay up to date on everything happening in our real estate market, especially in Durham Region and the GTA, then subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to speak with me directly about our real estate market, you can book a call with me at a time that works best for you using the link in the description. In Durham Region, during the month of June, we saw a 7.2% increase to new listings, a 15.6% increase to the number of active listings we have on the market, a 3.3% drop in the number of sales, and the average home price remains about the same at $956,000. We currently have about 2.5 months of inventory, and while that is considered a seller's market still, the recent trends over the last few months show that we're headed in the direction of a balanced market. This time last year, we only had 1.5 months of inventory, and it wasn't until the fall that we really saw a meaningful amount of inventory start to build up. Even though we still had really low inventory in June and July last year, it was around this time that we started to see prices peak and drop off as the market shifted and buyer behavior started to change. Right now, we have 63% more inventory on the market than we did in June of 2023, but we have 2.3% less sales. So with that much more inventory and no increase to sales, why haven't we seen more downward pressure on prices yet? In my opinion, there are two main reasons for that. Number one is that last year we had 2 rate increases in June and July, and that really impacted the mindset of buyers at the time. Having back-to-back rate increases, although it didn't immediately impact their pre-approvals, it puts doubt into the minds of buyers and made a lot of them hesitant to enter the market. Where there's uncertainty in the market, people naturally become more hesitant to jump in because they don't want to get in at the wrong time. The second reason is that although we had almost 2,200 active listings at the end of June this year, which is about 850 to 900 more than last year, a lot of those listings are just not going to sell, or at least they aren't going to sell with the way they're currently listed. I did a search while I was preparing for this video, and I looked up all the active listings in Durham Region, excluding vacant land and homes that were conditionally sold, and this is what I found. There were 2,200 listings available. Of those 2,200 listings, almost 1,400 of them had been on the market for at least 15 days. I chose 15 days because that's the average time it takes to sell a property currently, and for most homes, if it's taking longer than 15 days, it usually comes down to the price and the seller or agent having unrealistic expectations. 830 of the homes have been listed for 30 days or longer, 519 for at least 45 days, and 344 for at least 60 days. The reason I pulled this number is because I think it gives us a good indication of how many of these properties are realistically priced and likely to sell. Because looking at the amount of inventory we have on the market, the recent trends of sales, listings, and all of the other stats we talk about in these videos, it often makes buyers and even me wonder, why are we seeing some of the activity and competition on homes when we have significantly more inventory than we had at this time last year? But when you think, okay, we have 2,200 homes for sale, but if 1,400 of them aren't realistically priced, does it really matter? We could have 5,000 active listings, but if 3,500 of them are townhomes listed for $2 million, do we really have 5,000 homes for people to reasonably choose from? So I personally think that plays a factor into why we're still seeing homes with multiple offers, and the strategy of listing low and reviewing offers on a specific day can still be working well in many cases. If you're a buyer, you can also learn a lot from those homes that aren't selling as well, especially first-time home buyers and people buying into areas that they maybe are not as familiar with. The first-time homebuyer segment of the market is the most competitive, and although it's a lot easier to navigate than we've seen in the past, you can still get yourself in trouble if you're not careful. Properties that have been on the market for 45 or 60 plus days and still aren't selling, the vast majority of them fall into these categories. They are located in undesirable or rougher neighborhoods, they're not functional for the average buyer like awkward 1 or 2 bedroom layouts, or they're tenanted. And then there are some great homes in great areas that are just out of line on their price expectations. But as a buyer, you should take note of some of these listings and try to avoid making the same mistakes. Just make sure that you, and especially your agent, know the areas that you're viewing homes in very well. A lot of those sellers might have thought that they got a good deal on their home at the time or weren't very familiar with the area, but when the market conditions balance out and only the best price and best looking homes in good neighborhoods are selling, you're going to run into a lot of difficulty selling a home in a more undesirable location or one that doesn't appeal to most buyers unless you're willing to take a hit on the price. A really easy example in Oshawa off the top of my head is on Ritson Road just south of King Street. The west side of Ritson Road is a little bit less of a desirable area than the east side. The east side is quieter, generally the homes are better kept, and it's further away from downtown resources that attract a lot of people struggling with different issues. The homes on the west side of the road and closer to downtown routinely sell for $40,000, $50,000, $70,000 less than the homes on the east side of the road for those reasons. But to a buyer and an agent who is not familiar with those areas, it's really easy to see a home that's sold on the other side of the street and think this one must be worth that too, and it's not necessarily the case. And for investment property owners, if you're thinking about buying one, please try not to sell a home with a tenant living in it. It's more risky for buyers, it's more risky for you, and they almost always sell for far less, like tens of thousands of dollars less than a vacant property. And that's if it sells at all. So from now until the end of August, we're probably going to see the market slow down a little bit. Most people are taking their vacations and taking a break from thinking about anything real estate related until usually around September. This is where we could see the market start to shift. Although a lot of those active listings I talked about are not currently positioned well enough to sell, most homeowners don't list their home unless they have a real intention to sell. So we'll likely see a lot of those listings that have been sitting 2 or 3 or 4 weeks start to make price adjustments to help get their homes sold. And this is when buyers can find some really good deals because sales are going to start slowing down as some buyers put their search on pause. And those buyers that do continue their home search, they're going to have more to choose from, less competition from other buyers and sellers who are going to want to get something done so they can move on. I made 2 videos recently about what you need to know if you're buying a home this year and selling a home this year. I'll link them on the screen here for you to check out. And as always, if you'd like to speak with someone about buying or selling a home in Durham Region who isn't going to BS you but give you a real honest opinion, then you can use the link in the description to book a call with me at a time that works best for you. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope you found this video helpful. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.